Alright, I'm trying to show you some code for Manifold Lab fill with foam routine. It's a brain dead foam coffin streaming fill. It will basically take the MonoDisperse foam and move it to various offsets that should cover the target object. And then test to see if the pieces of the constituent foam that has been moved are within inside the target object. So it has some partner functions here. I print out a vector using some floating point formatting. So print one vector, print an array of vectors, align the centers of two objects. So we is an object, so take one object and align its center to this destination object, source destination. Get the dimensions of a we object. Create the net of offsets. Basically, they should be every 8 units, right? Because, and that's why we're using multipliers right here to create those offsets. We're sending in after we create our field of offsets that should cover, this is these are the dimensions of the target object, and this is the minimum corner of the target object. So this should create enough offsets for foam to not the individual tidbits, but for each mono dispersed foam unit. We might need multiples and multiples even of the mono dispersed foam unit to cover the thing. So we're creating offsets at every 8. And then we come down here. Here's the main command. This just uses the current state of wings to grab a mono dispersed foam chunk. And so this object is the wings edge object mono dispersed foam. This command just separates the foam into a list of objects. That's winged edge object list. This gets the count of the number of tidbits. So here's our offsets. Let's display the dimensions of the foam, which will be slightly bigger than 8, right? Because it kind of it overlaps with itself a little bit. So when you create the bounding box, it's 9 something instead of 8, but that's old news. Basically, I'm creating a nice table of faces and vertices so that I can use that with my point intersect code. I got 2 nested loops. This function with another function inside that basically represents nested loops. The first function will iterate over each tidbit, each little tiny piece of the amount of dispersed foam. So we just iterate over each one of those once, and then once we do that, we take that tidbit, and that would be, we get its centroid right here. So that's really tidbit centroid. Boy. Tidbit. Let's call it tiny tidbit center. And then our next loop right here iterates over should be iterating over all the offsets. Yeah, here we go. This is the function, and this is the thing that it's iterating over all the offsets. And then we can do a point and side test, blah, 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 blah. And now I should show you the result. And here's the result. Notice that I think the result is okay, with the very exception of the X offset. Now I'm looking through the code for anything that would be biasing or mangling the X offset. And I sure don't see anything. We've got this thing sort of parted down into logical steps here. And I just haven't seen anything that would be messing up the x-ordinate. Weird, right?